2022, we have so much planned. We are doing the 2022 year in review and talk to you guys about everything that we've done and achieved in the last 12 months. So if we go right back to the start of the year in January, I did the Diary of a CEO podcast with Stephen Bartlett, and it was so much fun actually. And I mean, me and Stephen have known each other for quite a while before the podcast, but I hadn't actually seen him and spoke to him too much since he started the podcast. So yeah, that was a really fun day. It was a really cool conversation, and the feedback from everyone that was watching it, or everyone that watched the podcast on YouTube, was incredibly positive, which is always nice. In January as well, we all started visiting the Denver office a lot more frequently. So we spent a lot of time out in Colorado and in the United States. So moving on to March, in London I did the Perform X event, which is run by a good friend of mine, Steve Orton. So he was running that event and he asked if I wanted to come down and have a chat to everyone. Obviously I said yes, and I was actually blown away by just how good the event is. And also in March, GSIQ opened to our new building, our new innovation hub with the production facilities, the social and everything else that comes with the IQ. And that's actually where I and we spend most of our time now on the Gymshark campus. It is over in GSIQ. We are still doing work to GSIQ. It's probably going to change over the next few months, but in March, when it officially opened, was a huge step forward because that was a big, long running project for Gymshark. In April, well, I was April fooled by the team.
We've taken control of Ben's standing desk.
Because we just moved into IQ, he had all these desks that move up and down, and I didn't realise that they could remotely move it up and down. I thought it was just the button on the side of the desk. And then they were messing around with it, and everyone was laughing at me because I was miserable and in pain and couldn't do my work, and obviously the people that were sitting around me took great delight in that. But then in April as well, I graduated and I became Dr. Ben Francis, which is weird. And actually becoming a doctor, getting that doctorate from Aston University as an honorary degree was an amazing moment. I never really thought I would get a degree. I think for one, actually getting into university in the first place was like a really big moment for me when I was about 18 years old. And then leaving university, I thought, well, maybe I won't be the first person in my sort of family to get a degree. And then luckily for me, Aston got in touch and they offered me an honorary doctorate. Moving into May, we did the market stall in Lower Marsh Market in London, which was great fun. And that was really good for me as well, because I hadn't really been able to do an event and really be around people and be around Gymshark customers as much as I would like. So just to be there on the ground at the market stall selling Gymshark product, it was like the days of old, and it was so much fun. I absolutely loved that day. Following on from that, we flew back out to the US and I spoke at VCon, which was cool, which was Gary Vaynerchuk's event, which was out in Minneapolis. Much first there, and it wasn't necessarily a strategic decision. It was just because we grew up on social media and it was the place that felt right for us to be. We also on that trip went down to Texas to see Nick Bare, and Nick showed me his setup there, which was absolutely brilliant, genuinely really cool. And it was sort of like going back in time and looking at what Gymshark was like a few years ago, and I think his business and him as an individual are incredibly impressive. So that was really good fun for me as well, just to be toured around his facility and to see what those guys are working on. We just finished meeting with Nick at Bare Performance Nutrition, and it was literally like walking back in time. I think that this brand is going to be massive in the next few years, which I think is really exciting to watch. And then when we got home, it was at the end of May that I found out that Robin was pregnant. We believe Robin is pregnant. So we're coming in for our first time. Well, we know, well, she's had a positive pregnancy test, so I don't know what to think. I'm nervous. All the signs and symptoms and everything that comes with it. It's probably the most surreal moment in my life, actually. But to be honest, I didn't actually believe it for honestly weeks after. I don't even think it really hit me until probably well after the first scan. But yeah, found out that Robin was pregnant, so that's definitely a life-changing moment. We later found out that it was twins, and that was a moment that I honestly, in the scan place in Solihull, I almost fell off my seat. I could not believe it because it was just nothing that we ever expected.
I'm in shock. I would never have thought in a million years that we would have twins.
I've got no idea what to think. I'm literally in shock. I'm so happy. I'm the happiest I've ever been. Finding that out was an amazing and life-changing moment for me. So June was a big month because at the start of June I turned 30, rather gracefully so, I would say. Yeah, turning 30 was cool. We had a little party at our house. All of our close friends and family came, which was really, really nice. And we actually used that as an opportunity to announce to our friends and family that Robin is pregnant.
There's more. Literally. No. It's twins. Oh
my God! Yeah, to not only say I am 30 years old and we had that sort of like birthday party, but to be able to let everyone know that Robin was pregnant was really, really special as well. There's another one for June as well. Gymshark was on the chase, which was quite cool, so we never thought that would happen. And good for us, the contestant and the chaser, they both got it straight away, which is nice. Good UK brand awareness, which I was happy about. And then moving into July, we did the Deload Barbershop, which was obviously massive for men's mental health awareness, and it's something that's really, really important to us here. We at Gymshark had a feature in the Times as well. Sort of PR picked up at that point. I felt like a lot of people were talking about Gymshark. There was a lot going on, but we had a warehouse sale. So we did our first ever warehouse sales over in the States, and we did one, the kickoff one in New York, which again was incredibly, incredibly successful. Something that we'd never done before. It was a great idea by our US team. And yeah, I was really proud with how that went. So August was a big one because Gymshark was officially 10 years old as a business. So again, that was a really special moment for me because I'd just turned 30, Gymshark had become 10 years old, and there was this realization of, one, I'd now dedicated over a third of my entire life on this planet to Gymshark. But I'm also like hyper aware that like the vast majority of businesses don't make it to 10 years old. So to make it to 10 years old as a business is something that, again, I'm incredibly proud of. I'm incredibly proud of the whole team that work here on Gymshark every single day, and you know, thankful for everyone's support around the world. So August, talking about the life of a business that becomes 10 years old, probably one of the most difficult things that certainly I've ever had to do, and I know we've had to do as a business, was restructure our organisation. And I've got to give out more shit news this week and next week. So I'm properly at the stage now where I'm just absolutely... We actually realised that the way that the business was built just wasn't right for the long-term growth of the business and the brand, and we had to basically change the way that the business was organised. As a result of that, whilst there would be lots of jobs that would be created, there would also be lots of jobs that were lost, and that was personally really, really difficult for me, and I know, you know, significantly more difficult for those who were affected at risk and for those that ultimately lost their jobs during that. So that was a really, really tough moment. Growing a business, I know from the outside it can look incredible and it can look like Gymshark is such a fun ride, which again for the most part it is, but there are also some really, really difficult, dark and tough times as well, and going through that restructure was certainly one of those. Moving on to September, we did an amazing event in Los Angeles on Muscle Beach, and that was all about really embedding Gymshark's lifting credentials. So Gymshark is the lifting brand, right? It's all about lifting at its core, and Gymshark started in the gym, and Gymshark will always create some of the best lifting and bodybuilding products in the world. And being back out in LA after so many years was so much fun, and it was a great event. It was incredibly successful, and like I said, it was just great to be back out in LA. And it was at this point in September that we actually announced online that we was having babies. The amount of support we've had from all of you guys and everyone that I've chatted to on the street and within Gymshark as well, it actually really helps, and it's really nice, and to know that we've got that support is amazing. September as well was also our first wedding anniversary, so 1 year married, me and Robin, which was quite cool as well. And again, weird because sort of time sort of flew to get there. It felt like we blinked and we'd been married for a year. So that was also a special moment, and hopefully that's the first of many, many more to come as well. We also launched the 10-year collection. So because Gymshark was 10 years old, we launched the 10-year collection, which I think is absolutely amazing, although I sort of feel like I would say that. But feedback that we had from you guys and the athletes was incredibly, incredibly positive. So we launched that as like a commemorative collection just to celebrate the fact that Gymshark is 10 years old. So moving into October, the Regent Street store launched, which was amazing fun, and just this was a very, very surreal moment, and it almost wasn't, it was like beyond a dream moment for me, because starting out the brand in the way that we did in the Midlands, in hand making our clothes, having a store on Regent Street wasn't even a dream, because it was just far too big, and we never thought that this would happen. And to be able to have this like beautiful cathedral of the brand on one of the most incredible streets in Europe was an amazing, amazing moment. We had these long queues going down Regent Street, but again, it was just incredibly, incredibly successful. And thankfully for us, every single day since then, the store has been incredibly successful. So I have to thank you guys for that, for visiting, for coming to the store, for stopping by and saying hello, continuing to stop by now. Yeah, so Regent Street, the launch, the opening, and even ever since, it's been brilliant. It's been so successful. And then it was also in there that we did a load of interviews, and one of the interviews that I did was a interview with Sky News, and it felt like a proper interview. I'd done like a live interview with Sky News before, but I was like at home and on Zoom and stuff, but doing it there with all the cameras around me was a bit nerve-wracking, but again, really cool. It was a really, really good experience for me as well. We did the Dragon Boat race, so I'm sure many of you are aware that I am the patron of Birmingham Women's and Children's Hospital. So yeah, it was a really, really fun day, and we raised a load of funds for a great cause. Moving on to November. November is always carnage for us here at Gymshark because we had our Black Friday event. Thank you to every single one of you that purchased during Black Friday. It was a huge, huge event for us, as it is every single year. The entire Gymshark team here really, really pulled together and did an amazing, amazing job. And here we are now, sat in December at the end of the year. The amount of change that has happened is both good change, difficult change. There's been tough times, there's been amazing times, but I am looking forward to 2023. I'm incredibly optimistic, and there's loads of amazing things that we've got planned here at Gymshark as well that I'm really looking forward to showing you all. Even though there are negatives, which there are, the positives dramatically outweigh them. Because you get to meet so many cool people, you get exposed to cultures that you never ordinarily would be exposed to. You get to see amazing places, like places that you just never ever thought you would ever see. To, in 10 years, go from literally hand stitching clothes to having our own shop on Regent Street.
4, 3, 2, 1.
It's just crazy to think that I'm going to be finishing this year as a dad. I am a dad.